A warm welcome to all of my family. You are now tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me? The station that shows you how to be the best you that you can be simultaneously through being better to everyone else. Him, he is. That's right, I am Simeon Robinson, and I'll be your conductor on this crazy train as we learn life lessons through love.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Today's message is going to be titled, Stay Out of Egypt. Stay Out of Egypt. And the reason it's titled that is because I want to give you the abridged version of the story of Moses and him leading the Israelites out of Egypt. While getting the Israelites out of Egypt was a hard part, it was not hard as keeping the Israelites out of Egypt. And I feel that that is a part of the story that we don't talk about enough. Because after the 10 plagues, after we finally get the Israelites freed from slavery, you still have 40 years in the wilderness through where all of the 10 commandments, through where all of the teachings of Moses, through where the majority of the Torah comes from, through where a lot of the doctrination and the teachings come from. And in the midst of all of that, you have all of these Israelites who have now been freed from slavery, who have been chased down by Pharaoh, who feels like he's lost, who have almost lost their lives. And when they finally get freed, they still complained. When they finally get freed from slavery, they still complained. And it's crazy to say that after the 10 plagues, after you give 10 plagues to an entire country, first one, they had to turn the water to the blood. Then they sent a swarm of frogs. If that wasn't enough, there was a lice infestation, then a swarm of flies. Then there was livestock pestilence. Then there were boils and sores on all of the animals and the men. Then the hail destroyed all of the crops. The locusts consumed almost everything else that was not consumed by the plagues already. Then you had 3 entire days of absolute darkness. And last but not least was the death of every firstborn, both human and animal. And if that wasn't enough, you finally get the Israelites out of slavery. They finally start getting chased and they finally get away from Pharaoh. And it's not enough. So I want to give you a message. Today's message is for anyone that feels they are in the wilderness in their life right now. Today's message is for anyone that feels lost. Today's message is for anyone that feels like they're getting out of something, but what they're getting out of or what they feel they just got out of, there is still pain, there is still confusion, there is still uncertainty, there is still trauma, there is still things that do not feel good, and you constantly have to question, should you go back to Egypt? So if you get out of Egypt, this message is for you. Stay out of Egypt. And I want to start with the definition of wilderness. Wilderness is an uncultivated, uninhabited, or inhospitable region. So the reason you feel the way that you feel is because no one else has been in this position. This position is made for you. This position has been uninhabited and uncultivated. You have to cultivate this position. You have to continue to find your own promised land. And you can only do that with obedience. You can only do that with consistency. You can only do that with faith. So if you want to get out of the wilderness, you have to understand why you're in the wilderness and why that it feels the way it feels, because you are the first. You are the first, and the first has to go through the worst. If you are the first to do anything, you have no blueprint except for God. You have no one else human-wise to look up to. So you have to be the person that leads. You have to be the person that, more importantly, submits and follows God and the vision that you have been given. So when you feel that you are in the wilderness, understand that the first has to go through the worst. And if you're going to be the first in your family, if you're going to be the first in your city, if you're going to be the first in your group to do anything, you have to understand that that is going to come with many problems that are, number one, unforeseen, and 2, untracked. So you will have to find your way through these perilous mountains, through these perilous valleyways, and through these alleyways, and you will have to figure that out. but it's going to be worth it because everyone that follows you will have an easier path. So the people complained that slavery would have been better than hunger. And this is why I say stay out of Egypt. The Israelites complained that slavery, going back to slavery, would have been better than the hunger that they had to endure in the wilderness. In Exodus 16, they said the whole congregation of the children of Israel contemplated against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, "Oh, that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat and when we ate bread to the full. For you have brought us into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." They would have rather gone back to slavery. They would have rather gone back to persecution than to have the freedom and to deal with the problems that come with the freedom. So when you're wondering why it doesn't feel good, you have to understand you now have the freedom to make your own decisions. You now have the freedom to live right. But with that freedom is going to come hardship. With that freedom is going to come trials and tribulations. With that freedom, just because you have it doesn't mean that it means anything until it actually is time to use it. Truth doesn't mean anything when it's easy to tell it. Truth only means something when it actually makes sense for you to lie, when you have an excuse to lie. Being integrous doesn't matter when it's good for you. Being integrous doesn't matter when you have nothing to lose. Being integrous matters when, if you tell the truth, you know there is a possibility that you might lose something or that you might get hurt. That is when it matters. So stay out of Egypt. When you're wondering, hey, if I just live like everybody else lived, I wouldn't have to worry about this or I wouldn't have to worry about that. But there is going to be an entire different set of problems and an entire different set of demons that you're going to have to go through. And sadly, a lot of times people will rather choose the demon they know than to move away from the demons altogether. So you have to stay out of Egypt. And if you do not succeed at your goals and dreams, the worst case scenario is the life that you have right now. If you do not succeed at your goals and your dreams, the worst case scenario is the life that you have right now. So if you are not satisfied, if you feel that you are not where you are supposed to be, if you know that there is a promised land, a land of Canaan somewhere in your life, it is your obligation. It is your duty to follow that. It is your duty to chase that, whether it takes 4 days, 40 days, or 40 years. It is your job to track that wilderness. It is your job to find, to cultivate, and to inhabit that land, because that land is already made for you. You just have to find it. But it's going to be hard to find that land when you would rather go back to a land that imprisons you. You would rather go back to a place, a space, family members, friends, a relationship, a job that is imprisoning you than to find a way out. And more importantly, to stay your way out. So don't complain about slavery. Don't complain about the hunger. And the reason that I say that is because you're not complaining against your problems or your situation. You are complaining against God. If God gives you talents, if God gives you a dream, if God gives you goals, if God puts a path in front of you, you are no longer complaining about your life. You are no longer complaining against the problem or the situation. You are complaining against God. And the reason I say that is in this very story, right after the Israelites complained. The Bible says, in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord, for he hears you. He hears your complaints against the Lord. But what are we that you complain against us? Also, Moses said that you shall see the Lord gives you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning bread to the full. And the Lord hears your complaints, which you make against him. What are we? Your complaints are not against us, but against the Lord. So you have to understand, when you're complaining about your life, you're not complaining against your life. You're not complaining against the problems. You are complaining against God. If you want to succeed, if you want to live out your talents, if you want to live out the purpose that you feel has been given to you, or the purpose that you have found God has placed upon you, you have to understand that it is going to be wild. You are going to find yourself in a season of being in the wilderness. And in that time, you have to understand that you will have everything you need, but you will not have everything you want. You will have everything you need, but you will not have everything you want. And that is when the complaints start to arise, because we become ungrateful and we make it harder to be thankful for what we do have. You have clothes on your back and you have food to eat. You have a roof over your head. Yes, you have problems. Yes, you might not know how you're going to pay your bills tomorrow or next week. But the problems for tomorrow are sufficient for the day. All you need to do is worry about what you are doing today and how you are living, how you are thinking, how you are speaking, how you are praying today. Because you have to remain consistent in this wilderness. You have to remain consistent in this wilderness. If you do not remain consistent in this wilderness, you will find yourself lost. And then you will have even more excuses to complain. And you're going to believe that life has put you in this place simply because you did not stay on the track that you should have remained on. And when life was hard, the decisions that we make can make life harder. So when you look at yourself and you say, okay, how can I make better decisions? Number one, stop complaining, especially when we make our own decisions, because we can't complain against life, our problems, or God when we admit that we can or could have made better decisions. And for many people, going back might seem easier than going through. For many people, going back to whatever they escaped from might seem easier to them than going through whatever they're going through so they can get to whatever they are promised. Many people will rather go back to what they have just escaped than to go through what they need to go through to get to the land that is promised to them. And the reason I say that is because in the book of Numbers, they realized that after chapters and chapters and years of the Israelites complaining about the wilderness, not only did they say earlier that it would have been better for them to die in slavery, now they want to go back. Numbers 14 says, "So all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron again, and the whole congregation said to them, if only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in the wilderness. Why has the Lord brought us into this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children shall become victims? Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt? So they said to one another, let us select a leader and return to Egypt. Let us select a leader and return to Egypt. You have to be really careful of the things that you allow to lead your life, because the things that you allow to lead your life will lead you right back into captivity. You have to be very careful of the things that you allow to lead your life, because the things that you allow to lead your life will lead you right back into slavery, persecution, the feelings of not having freedom, the feelings of not being able to speak, the feelings of not being able to feel, the feelings of not being able to be yourself or to learn yourself, to love yourself, to grow yourself. You have to be very careful. And this is why going back to a lot of people might seem easier than going through. Because you are going to face challenges. You are going to face roadblocks. You are going to face people and things that may not want you to succeed, or that want to succeed themselves, and they do not care if you are collateral damage in their dreams. So going back might seem easier than going through, but if you never get through, you'll never get to what you need to get to. Going back will never get you there. Going through, you still have a chance. Going through, you still have a chance. And I know it's not going to feel good. I know nights you're going to have to cry. I know nights you're going to have to get it out. I know you're going to have to pray unceasingly. I know you're going to have to cry. I know you're going to have to scream. I know you're going to have to do whatever you need to do to get it out in the healthiest way possible. Get it out. Let that go. But do not let yourself go. Remain obedient and remain on the path that has been set for you, or remain on the path that you have set for yourself and agreed, okay, this is what I need to do for the next 3 months, the next 6 months, for the next year, because I have a destination in mind. And once you have a destination, you can actually plot your route. But if you have no destination in mind, if you don't know what's promised to you, if you don't know where you are going to land, if you don't know where you are going to go, it's going to be very difficult. And I want to leave you with something that you need to hear. As long as God has a plan, you do not need to worry about yours. As long as God has a plan, you do not need to worry about yours. So many people do not believe in God's plan because we're trying to make our own plan work. So many people don't believe in their own plan because they haven't even asked God what his plan is for us. So many people are running away from their calling, running away from their purpose because their purpose is not going to feel good. Their purpose is going to require them to be selfless. Their purpose is going to require them to put themselves out there. Their purpose is going to require them to do things, and the things that they do these things, or the people they do these things for, are going to be unappreciative. Very much like the Israelites were to Moses and Aaron. You can lead people out of captivity, but it will not stop them from complaining, from being disobedient, and from hating you. And a lot of people do not want to do their job because sadly, that is going to be some of the repercussions and ramifications of doing your job. You cannot be liked by everyone. And if you are loved by everyone, you are not loving yourself correctly. If you are loved by everyone, you are not loving yourself correctly. You have to love yourself. And part of loving yourself is finding yourself completely. Part of loving yourself is doing what you need to do for you, doing what is required of you to do. You do not know how much farther you have left to go, but you always know how to get back. And that is why so many people believe that it's easier to go back than to get through. You don't know how far you have left to go, but you know exactly how to get back. You know exactly how to get back where you came from. Even if that's a harder journey, even if that's a longer journey, even if that journey has a guaranteed unhappy outcome, many people consider it, or many people would rather go back because going through or continuing to go through does not have a guaranteed outcome. And because of the unguarantees, because of what is not promised, we believe that it has a bigger downside. We believe that it is possible for a bigger downside. And if you would rather go back to where you came out of, you will never stay out. You will never remain out, and you will never get free, because you will always keep going back to that until you break free from the mindset that you need that to thrive, or more importantly, just to survive. And last but not least, disobedience deters you from your destination. Disobedience deters you from your destination. It only takes one wrong turn to send you in the wrong direction. It only takes one wrong turn to send you in the wrong direction. And if we have to remain consistent and obedient to stay on the path, this is why. Because it only takes one wrong turn. Now, if you make that turn, depending on where you make that turn is going to depend on how far you have to go back or how far you're going to be off course. So this is why making the right decisions is important, but continuing to make the right decisions is even more important, because all it takes is one wrong decision to erase all of the right decisions. You can make 20 right turns, but if you make one wrong turn, that is still going to take you away from where you are trying to get to. And the reason I say that is we're going to stick with this story. Moses was obedient to God the entire way through. Moses did everything he was supposed to do, whether he agreed, liked it, believed it or not, except one thing. Moses struck on something that he was only supposed to speak to. Moses struck something that he was only supposed to speak to. Moses was barred from entering Canaan, or the promised land, because he struck the rock that he was supposed to speak to. And yes, he could blame the people. He could blame the people that he were leading, but he was disobedient to God. So he had to answer for his disobedience and his disbelief. What things are you striking that you're only supposed to speak to? What things are you trying to apply force to that you're merely supposed to love on? And to get even deeper, Canaan, or the promised land, is derived from the Hebrew root word Cana. This means to be brought down by a heavy load. In other words, to be humbled. So in order to get to Canaan, in order to get to the promised land, the reason you are in the wilderness is because you need to be humbled. The reason that you are in the wilderness right now is because you need to be humbled. And if you are not humbled, if you are not realizing your mistakes, and if you do not learn from these mistakes, you will continue to make the very same ones. You will continue to not learn from them, and you will continue to remain in the wilderness. If you continue to complain, if you continue to question, if you continue to go against what has already been placed in front of you, you will continue to remain in the wilderness. And that's going to be harder and harder and harder to get out of. It's going to be harder to trust when God tells you something because you didn't do what he told you the last time. And if you don't do what he told you the last time, it only takes one time for him to stop you from entering into the land that he has already prepared for you. Your dreams are already right there. Your dreams are already at the finish line. It's up to you to get them. The finish line never moves. The finish line never moves. Your dreams will not move. It's up to you to move closer to them. Your dreams will never move farther away from you. You will either ever only move closer to them or farther away from them. But it is up to you to remain on that path. And if you do not remain on that path, you cannot blame anyone else. You cannot blame the people who lead you or the people you allowed to be led by. You cannot blame the people who are under you or the people that you are leading. You cannot blame your heritage. You cannot blame how you were raised. You cannot blame your friends. You cannot blame your family. You cannot blame anyone else but yourself. So if you get out of Egypt, stay out of Egypt. Your Egypt might be alcoholism. Your Egypt might be an addiction. Your Egypt might be seeking validation. Your Egypt might be drugs. Your Egypt might be whatever the case is. If you get out, stay out. Because the second that you go back in, you may never get out again. It took 10 plagues to get out. And it took 40 years to stay out and to actually find a land that was inhabited for them. Don't waste your life. Do not waste your time. Do not waste your energy on anything that is not for you. So when you get out of Egypt, stay out of Egypt. I hope this message resonates with someone. I hope that you receive this. I hope that whatever you are going through, you get through and you stay out of. I'll be here every Friday, noon Pacific, 2 Central, 3 Eastern, If you ever miss an episode, all you have to do is follow the YouTube. That is linktree.com/Top Chef ENT. That's TOPCHEFENT. You can catch every episode. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to talk to you, and we can see where this goes from here. But I never want anybody to get out of something and have to return to it. So until next time, I love you and stay out.
I pray that this message is delivered to you. Even if it is not downloaded immediately into your spirit, I hope that you have this in the arsenal of your heart when you need it. I will be here every Friday, noon Pacific, 2 Central, 3 Eastern.